Welcome back to CryptosRus. I'm George. We're all George. So welcome to another market open stream. The market bell is about to ring. And finally, we have confirmation that yes, First Republic Bank has failed and has been acquired. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about what else is going on as we enter May. And there is PEPE. So let's talk about all these things and more. Welcome, 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 guys. The market bell has rung. Right now, U.S. market does not know what to do because we are in May, traditionally somewhat weak month. Okay, but you know, looking at the markets right now, it has not refreshed, but it looks like we may be even. But we finally got confirmation that First Republic Bank, which was reported to be auctioned on Sunday, JP Morgan acquired them. Okay, and Jamie Dimon says this part of the crisis is over. Of course, he exaggerates the crisis beforehand, causes fear and panic, causes investors to sell off, and now he's like, everything is okay. But is it really okay? If you look at the deal, of course, JP Morgan does take over much of the assets, but the FDIC, see, you have to read in between the lines. The FDIC agreed to share losses on mortgages and commercial loans that JP Morgan assumed in the transaction and provided it a $50 billion credit line. That's a lot. And how much losses did the FDIC just incur by helping with this merger, right? So if you look at the rest of the deal, it talks about billions upon billions upon billions that JP Morgan took over. But what you don't see, their liabilities. How much liabilities that basically brought First Republic Bank downwards to basically being worth almost nothing. Well, see, this kind of stuff, JP Morgan doesn't incur. FDIC does. And where does FDIC get the money? Nowhere. Out of your pockets or from the money printer. FDIC doesn't have all this insurance. Okay? I mean, they have to get it from the Fed, and then the Fed tells the Treasury to print it. I mean, that's how it works. They don't have hundreds of billions of dollars. You may think they do. They don't. They don't just have that laying around somewhere. So how much more debt was just incurred? I have no idea. It has not been reported. And if you thought First Republic Bank was not a big deal, it is actually the second largest bank failure in terms of assets. Even bigger than Silicon Valley Bank. Remember how much press Silicon Valley Bank got and how disastrous it was. People don't even realize First Republic Bank actually was a bigger bank at the time of failure, at the time of acquisition. $229 billion assets, right? And take a look. Outside of Washington Mutual, you have the next three, second place, third place, fourth place, all within the same year. So how many more are we going to hear about this year? And are they going to be even bigger than First Republic? Hopefully not, but I wouldn't put it past this notion. Maybe there will be more, and maybe there will be more that are bigger. So this is an absolutely huge thing. And think about Washington Mutual. When Washington Mutual went under in 2008, I remember that. It seemed like they were so big, but they're actually not that much bigger than First Republic Bank, if you think about it, right? And of course, the Treasury Department is telling everyone, don't worry. The banking system is sound and resilient, and all Americans should have confidence in their deposits in their bank. It's easy to say that, right? And it's also something you would say when there's no confidence in the banks or deposits, right? So, of course, you would have to say that. You can't have Janet Yellen coming out and say, well, yeah, I wouldn't trust the banks either right now. That would be horrible. So, of course, they have to say that, right? But can you really trust them? I don't know. You know, part of this acquisition is like, I'm assuming, you know, there's a lot of commercial loans in here, right? Not just loans, a lot of commercial deposits. You know, like with Silicon Valley Bank, when it collapsed, it turned out a lot of tech companies had hundreds of millions stored within. And keep in mind, FDIC insurance only up to $250,000. So in the case of SV Bank, FDIC actually bailed them out and said, hey, we're going to allow everyone to withdraw, including Circle. Circle got bailed out too. Let's not forget that. So they were lucky. But with First Republic, I'm not so sure they're going to do that. Is everyone going to get bailed out? Anything above $250,000, they're going to get back, or they're only covering $250,000, because remember, the insurance is only covering up to $250,000. It's not unlimited amounts, right? So eventually, there will be a point where, hey, if it fails, you're not going to have everything, especially if you are a large whale, you have a substantial amount of money, or you're a company, right? So just keep that in mind. So this is like Band-Aids on top of Band-Aids right now. That's why Bitcoin actually started turning up this year, started gaining. And we ended April with a plus 3%. Not bad. Considering 2021, negative, 2022 was absolutely horrible, but 2022 makes sense because it's our crypto winter year, right? But we have thawed and we have come out of it. So we had basically almost 4 straight months. February barely down, but you could count that almost as a green month. But basically so far, pretty good. 40% in January, 23% in March, 3% in April. But what's going to happen in May? May, we had a horrible 2021 and 2022, but traditionally speaking, May is not a bad month. Going back, 2018 was bad because that was the year after the bubble top in 2017, right? So that kind of makes sense. And 2021, you know, was the bubble year, and then 2022 is when we started coming down. So if history repeats, that means May of this year should be in the green, because we're coming off of that bubble top year, which is 2022. Although we didn't really have a bubble top. If we did, Bitcoin would have hit $100,000. We got shortchanged by the Fed because Powell in December started announcing that there were going to be rate hikes starting in January, and that kind of just like cut the whole pump. So what's going to happen in May? Well, if we have more bank weaknesses, which I expect we will, especially since Jim Cramer said First Republic Bank, that's it. That's the last bank crisis. It'll be over after First Republic Bank. So rest assured, Inverse Cramer will be right. There will be more bank failures, and that means it's going to help Bitcoin because more and more people are just turning to Bitcoin. No one wants to turn to anything else right now. Okay, you can't really trust anything else. And you got to hold on to something that outperforms inflation. You need an inflation hedge. And there's very, very, very little assets out there that you can hold that can do that. That is an inflation hedge that can outperform inflation and preserve your buying power. That's very hard to do. Very hard to do. But that's why so many people are turning to Bitcoin. Now, this is out of UK. Supposedly, we have this panel of fintech specialists that were asked about Bitcoin's price in 2023, where it's going to be in 2025 and 2030. Surprisingly, these specialists are pretty conservative. They believe Bitcoin will end the year around $35,000. And we're only in May. Just started in May. And we were at 30,000. I honestly think we could break through 30,000, 35,000 pretty easily. Okay, but you know, it's okay. Let's do conservative, right? In 2025, by the end of the next bull run, Bitcoin will only be at $100,000. Again, very conservative, extremely. And by the end of 2030, which is the next bull run, the end of the next bull run, then they predict Bitcoin will be at $300,000. Okay. But here's the thing. Even as this is true, even we only hit 100, I say only hit $100,000 for Bitcoin this cycle. Who cares? The next cycle, which is not too far away from basically 7 years, 6.5 years, even if we don't hit 300,000 or 200,000 this cycle, and we have to wait another 4 years, 6 years before we get 300,000, is it really all that bad? I would say no. What's another few years for Bitcoin to appreciate 3x, right? And keep in mind, while it's appreciating, others will be appreciating too. The alts will be going up as much, if not more, right? So, yeah, kind of a conservative prediction. But what's not conservative is just the fundamentals of Bitcoin. The transaction count right now, all-time high, higher than even peak years, peak 2017, peak 2021, okay? We have more transactions now than ever in Bitcoin's history, despite Bitcoin only being at 28,500. So the fundamentals of Bitcoin has never, ever, ever been better. Never, ever. Same deal with mining. Mining farms, mining companies, more and more are getting listed. They want the funding to buy more miners and just keep hashing. That's why you look at the hash rate. I mean, it just keeps going up and up and up and up and up. It doesn't stop because the miners just keep turning on more and more mining machines, and the hash power and the difficulty keeps on going up. So again, this is part of fundamentals. Why this is important? Well, with so many miners and so much hash rate, it is virtually impossible to hack Bitcoin's network. This secures it. You could argue, yes, it costs an enormous amount of money, but that enormous amount of money makes it so that it is virtually unhackable at this point. You can't have anyone hacking Bitcoin's network because you need an equivalent amount of hash rate and equivalent amount of money being spent to be able to even try to hack Bitcoin's network. That's how secure it is. There's nothing else out there that comes anywhere close in terms of security and also decentralization. And that is why Bitcoin has infinite worth, if you think about it, because you can't replicate this. It is the only recognized digital currency and network across the world that everyone now just accepts. No one tries to ban it. No one says this is a Ponzi anymore. Well, besides Peter Schiff. But besides him, everyone now recognizes Bitcoin as legal property, and countries now are even embracing it. Countries. So if you think about that, it can't be replicated. And because of that, Bitcoin's network has infinite worth. Infinite worth. And that is why people that hold on Bitcoin know that and continue to hodl. So if you look at last supply active, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, continues to skyrocket for every single one. And 10 years, 7 years, whatever you want to put on here. Keeps going higher and higher and higher. And again, part of the fundamentals, because these numbers are higher than even peak 2021, right? So most people don't understand that. Most people only understand that, okay, Bitcoin is lower than its peak, so it can't be possibly better, right? Because the price is half or less than half. But if you're measuring the number of holders, the hash rate, the number of addresses, the number of transactions, things that measure the strength of the network, they have never, ever been better than now. So think about that. The price is trailing the network right now. The price is nowhere close to where the network is. So that's why we all need to just relax, calm down, and continue to DCA and let the gains come to us. It's really that simple. All right. And then lastly, a couple things. A lot of people are very enthusiastic over this new chain called SUI, created by a lot of ex-Facebookers. It reminds me kind of like Aptos. I actually don't know the technology, whether or not it's really amazing, but there just seems to be a lot of hype. And even CZ tweeted this because, well, once upon a time, I think he was friends with Justin Sun. Remember I said, don't trust Justin Sun, right? Because he's doing shady stuff like this all the time. So I guess SUI is going to launch on Binance Launch Pool. And then Justin Sun decides to just deposit $56 million because, of course, he wants to just grab as much tokens as possible, right? Being a whale. And then CZ's like, no, we don't want to airdrop to whales. We want to be fair to the community, to the retail investors. So now Justin Sun, feeling embarrassed and outed by CZ himself, now is trying to reverse that $56 million because CZ was he says there was going to be repercussions. I don't know what that means. If he's going to ban Justin from Binance or something like that, right? See, this is why I don't. People always ask, why don't you trust Justin? Just do a history research, or just search up Justin and see all these things that he has pulled back in the day in 2017, 2018, 19, 20, all the way until now. And you realize, it's amazing that Justin Sun wasn't the very first SBF, that he actually didn't cause some kind of major catastrophe over the years, because he has participated in just as much shenanigans, if not more. And he may have something to do with Luna's collapse too, because if you guys do research, days before UST depegged, Justin Sun said, oh, I bought $2 billion of USD. Wait for it. Something big is going to happen. 2 days before the collapse. Even Do Kwon responded saying, what's going on? I would not be surprised at all if it comes out that Justin had something to do with that collapse too. I mean, it's just totally wild. All right. And then lastly, I got to talk about this since it's unavoidable now. Many of you guys know there is a new meme coin that's not a dog coin called PEPE, and it has outperformed everything so far. It's gotten so big, it's become the third largest meme coin out there, right? And you know what? When SHIB was up and coming, I'm like, there's no way we'll ever get another Doge. And then we got SHIB, and it's the biggest performer of all in all of crypto history. Billionaires were actually made from SHIB. So it's a wild ride for some of these meme coins. So I'm just gonna give a shout out to PEPE. Does not mean I'm endorsing them by any means, and they could be crashing immediately after I show this. But that's the way it is with meme coins. Sometimes they pump infinitely, right? And the only good thing I say is it causes people to come into the space, and when they dump, and 99% of them do, most of those people leave. However, some people stay, and it's a really good utility, I guess, in terms of grabbing new users. But if you want to participate in meme coins, do a very small amount. Don't degen all in, because like I said, it could crash 99% right afterwards. And a lot of them do. Most of them do, because they're just rug pull projects and you just really don't know. Okay, so be careful. Be careful. All right, that is pretty much it. And Bitcoin is still at like 28.5. It's really weird that all of a sudden we had this big drop. Like, some whale did believe that, this whole notion that you have to sell in May, go away in May or whatever. It seems like some whale actually did that, and that's why we're a little bit below. But would not be surprised me as we see more bank failures and weakness in the sector, that Bitcoin starts coming back up, goes back to 30,000, and continues forward. So we will have to see. Hey, and today is turning green. A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. No, we'll take that. We'll take that. All right, let's do some Q&A. Lively crowd this morning. 4,400 people in here. Make sure you guys smash up that like button. Luciano, super chat. Thank you. First time super chatter. A lot of frog emojis and PEPE fans in here. I don't mind. PEPE makes a lot of people money. It makes them millionaires, right? But just know, learn from that Dogecoin millionaire who put all his money in. Dogecoin made him a millionaire. Decide not to take any profits, and he's no longer a millionaire, and he's worse off now than he started. So just keep that in mind. A lot of people that think they're geniuses because they ape into or frog into a meme coin, right? Make sure you lock in those profits. Otherwise, if they fall, and most of them do, you're not going to reap the rewards at all. What's a rug pull? Basically, you get rugged. Basically, you're standing on top of a rug and someone pulls the rug. That's what it means. Your thoughts on Injective, Conan? I like Injective. There's a couple big chains that's out of Cosmos. Unfortunately, they haven't helped Cosmos that much. See, Cosmos needs to figure out their token economics better. Because all these cool L1s are coming out of Cosmos, their ecosystem, using their SDK, but they're not helping Atom in any way. Binance Chain is the biggest. That comes to mind. People don't realize Binance Chain came out of Cosmos. And then you have like Injective, you have Kava, you have Casper. These are all like pretty big L1s, hundreds of millions of dollars in terms of market cap. Yet they're not helping Cosmos at all. But they are taking advantage of IBC, which is great, which is inter-blockchain communication. So they all can talk to each other. But there's not any really good or outstanding DEXs besides Osmosis. So I love to see more being done in Cosmos. But to answer your question, Injective, I think they have a lot of promise. Daniel, I appreciate that. You said you made profits. Well, good for you. Good for you. When you make money with crypto, it doesn't matter what you make money with, right? You want to make sure you take some and lock in the profits. So that's why I've been saying have 25, 30, or 35% in cash. Okay, it could be stable coins, it could be whatever, or fiat. But make sure you have that, okay? And if you find that you're making a lot of money, which is great, but then you find that cash pile diminishing, well, then it's time to take some profits and lock it in. In case it reverses, right? And you're able to DCA it once again. But also, you want to play with house money if you can, meaning that if you put in $100, now it's at $200, you could take out $100. So even if it crashes back down to zero, you're fine, you're protected, right? I think that's really important when it comes to meme coins, unless you just want to gamble, right? If you just want to gamble, you're putting a small amount. If it wins, great. If it doesn't, okay, it's up, you know, it's on you, right? That's fine. But for most investments, you want to play with house money. You want to take out your profits and make sure you have a good cash pile so you can keep on going. I think the biggest regret for most people in this space is that they run out of money when things go down. They want to actually DCA. It's not that they want to panic sell. They want to DCA, but they can't because they're out of money. So make sure you learn from your mistakes. Yo, whatever. I don't know how to say your name. I don't know if that's true. I have to look it up, but I don't know if that's true. Can Sheep still do a 10x this bull run? Well, I don't know. I'm assuming so. Were they at 50 billion at one point in time? Let's see how big Sheep was. At one point in time, they were at 1 decimal point lower. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. So it's about 10x. A little bit less than 10x. So can they do a 10x to get back to their previous high? Yes. I'll just say that. Yes. A lot of us, brilliant being, a lot of us are afraid to self-custody because of the tediousness of the process. One false move and a person can lose it all. Please understand and explain. It's true, but, you know, just like all things, you take precautions. It's actually not that difficult. You're just sending it from wallet to another wallet. If you're afraid, I mean, everything is copy and paste. You're copy and pasting your wallet address. It's very hard to mess that up. And even so, send a test transaction. If you're sending it to your own wallet, send $10 first, $50. If it goes through, then send the rest, right? So it's just about taking precautions. It's not that difficult. But, you know, there's a first time for everything, so you just have to kind of jump in and try it out. There's numerous videos and articles that show you how to use these self-custody wallets. It's like riding a bike. The anticipation of pain is worse than the pain itself. There are a lot of people that don't know how to ride a bike because they think, oh, it's too difficult and I might get hurt. Well, if everyone thought that, then what's the point of even living? Yeah, even walking outside your house, you get struck by lightning or hit by a car or mugged and stabbed to death, right? You can't not live. So anticipation of pain is worse than pain itself. Blair, no, I don't think that is true. Where do we see Doge going in the next few months? I don't know. There's still a lot of fun against Twitter. And I think Elon knows that, and he's trying to do what he can, but he just can't make Twitter make any money right now. There's very little people that's actually paying for this blue check mark. People everywhere is complaining that Twitter is just no longer as viral as before. You don't get as much attention from your tweets. Plus, he's trying to sell $1,000 check marks now for companies. Advertisers are still not all back in. He even said Twitter is just worth half of what he acquired. If you try to sell it, maybe even worth less than that. Jack Dorsey now, not that he's the biggest guy that people love, but, you know, Jack Dorsey complains about Elon saying he made a mistake. He came out decentralized Twitter that no one uses, but still, because of all these distractions, Elon unfortunately has not been able to do anything with Doge. I think everyone, including myself, thought immediately that he was going to come out the crypto wallet and integrate Doge within. It sounded like that was a really good plan and something easy to do, and still not done. So I don't know what's going to happen with Doge. They have no other plans. There's no plans on building bridges or anything like that. No plans on coming out with a layer 2 or coming out with their own NFT collection or metaverse collection or bring games on board. There's like no talks at all. That's what's so frustrating about Doge. It's probably because the founders, who both quit on their projects, made no money, so they have no treasury. So maybe that's the next thing, to get a treasury so they can actually do stuff, right? Maybe impose a little tax on transactions or something. Build up a treasury so that they could actually use that money to incentivize developers to come on board. But right now, Doge hinges on one man, and that's Elon. If he never does anything with Doge, then Doge will just stay in place forever. A transfer from Binance.us to my Ledger wallet is lost somewhere. Holly, it's probably not lost. It could just take a while because the ETH network is congested, or you selected when you withdraw, for example, ETH or a stable coin, let's say, it'll tell you which network you're withdrawing to. It'll tell you that ERC20 or BEP20 or Solana, whatever. You gotta make sure you select the right one. But most people just use ERC20. The PEPE suck up so much liquidity from alts, or alts just follow the BTC drop. I think Matic is especially a good buy. I don't know, whatever meme coins really pump, they really pump. So yeah, it could suck out liquidity, but mostly from other meme coins, I would say. I would say all the money from PEPE maybe, you know, it's coming from SHIB or something. I mean, SHIB recently has been really weak. Even with Shibarium, all the talks about Shibarium, SHIB has been extremely weak. I mean, I guess the same thing with Doge. They're both down 15% in the last 30 days. So who knows where the liquidity is coming from? It's coming from somewhere. Matic, you know, as for Matic, I'm still quite surprised how weak they are. Matic has been extremely weak. I think it's just a number of factors. L2s, like Arbitrum stole a lot of thunder. You know, maybe that's it. Polygon is still in a really good shape. They're still making a lot of partnerships, still bringing games and stable coins now. But it is a little surprising how weak they are. Jack Daniels, don't you think if ETH prices will be 10 to 15K in the future, then the NFT market will be dead? People won't afford high NFT prices? No, because there will be always new collections coming out. There'll be new hot collections. People will ape into them, and they could do equally as well. So, no, and especially, I would counter the opposite will happen. If ETH is 10 to 15K, a lot of people will be turned off by it, and then they'll probably be turned on to NFTs. There's a lot of just NFT degens. There are a lot of NFT degens out there. Dennis, you're welcome. Thanks for being here. Random Tutorials made a lot on Bonk, Trump NFT, Pepe, better than Doge and SHIB. I mean, Doge and SHIB, unfortunately, they have become like stable coins. They have not moved at all. Even with Bitcoin moving. I mean, look at Bitcoin. Up 23, 24% in the last 90 days. And Doge and SHIB is down 15%, right? Like, they have not moved at all. FOMC prediction this week. Unfortunately, I think we're going to get another rate hike. So I may be wrong. I said there's no possible way that Fed Chair Powell is going to raise rates, but I may be wrong. Raising rates is not going to solve things. It's going to make things worse. It's going to drive the U.S. economy deeper into recession. Much deeper. We're going to have more bank failures because of it. We're going to have a lot more unemployment. It's just, and it's killing a lot of retail companies too. Retail companies, they're really struggling. So I don't know, but I think we're probably going to get another 25 basis points. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm right. Meaning that my original prediction was there's no more rate hikes. We stop at 4.75%. But it may not be the case. So we'll find out in the third. This Wednesday. How can BTC be a new currency when there's a fixed amount? Because it's divisible. You get divisible up to 16 decimal points. So there's enough for everyone. Is a golden cross incoming anytime soon? It already happened. Already happened, my friend. Never bought a crypto in my life. Should I start buying? Should I start learning by it? It's never too late to learn about Bitcoin and crypto and how to protect your own money, how to get away from trusting the banks and the Fed and governments. Right? It's never too late to learn. So I'm glad you're here. I try to break it down each and every day, twice a day, pretty much. There's not much less BTC than ADA. I mean, if you look at supply, if you look at the overall supply, Bitcoin, there will be 21 million. We're close to 19 million. You have something like, over here, Cardano, right? There are some that have a lot less supply than others. Yes, but just because something has less supply or even has lesser supply than Bitcoin does not automatically make it greater. The projects have tried that before. Projects have come out with like only, 1,000,000 coins, for example, or something like that. There's a lot of ways to kind of trick people into thinking that somehow, this is better. Okay, and Sheeb also did the reverse, just added as many zeros as possible, and made people think it's incredibly cheap. But you have to learn how to calculate market cap by extrapolating the circulating supply times the price. People don't know that. People just look at decimal points and say, oh, okay, this thing could go up 1,000,000x because it has, 6 zeros in front of the digits. That's not how it works. Wojak pumped up 160. Wojak is another one. I don't hear a lot of people talking about Wojak, but it is still doing very well. I just know that a lot of meme coins are going up. It's not even going. Yeah, PEPE is up 74%. And then you have Wojak up 116%. They're still very low market cap. And then you got others too. There are a lot of meme coins everywhere. Yeah, okay. The chat is just spewing out 1,000,000 meme coins that I don't recommend anyone aping into or jumping into, and I'm not gonna be learning them. I just know that there are a few. Every cycle, you have a few that survive, but you also have a lot that just fail miserably. Okay, so you're taking a risk. You're taking a huge risk. It's like, it's like playing the lottery. So don't put big money into there because into any meme coin because you can just totally wreck yourself. So just think about it that way, okay? But as for investing, true investing, you want to concentrate on Bitcoin and the solid altcoins out there. All right, let's conclude. Overall today you have First Republic that finally went under. Second largest bank failure in history for the US, which is no good, and there's probably more that are coming, but the fundamentals of Bitcoin has never, ever been stronger. So make sure you hold on and DCA and learn more about Bitcoin, crypto, Web3, self-custody, and everything else. All right? Smash it a like, subscribe to the channel, guys. I will see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.